8 years or since the era of President Atta Mills, there was no refresher course for all the councils in the judicial committee. And they did not know, the one in Kumasi didn't know the one in Tamale. There was no forum for them to meet. For the first time, President Mahama made it possible for us to be able to organize a 2-day refresher course for the Judicial Training Institute to educate and orientate our chiefs on how to adjudicate chieftaincy cases. And this was a plus for the ministry. In addition, the ministry engaged the leadership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Presbyterian Church, the Ghana National Association of Charismatic Churches, the Ghana Council of Pentecostal Churches, National Association of the Clergy, and the various Islamic groups to discuss issues related to the development of the role of religious institutions. Honorable Minister, the ministry, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, increased the monthly allowances of paramount chiefs from 1,000 to 3,000. And as I said, for the last 8 years, our chiefs were stagnated in the allowance they were receiving. It was 1,000 in 2017, 1,000 in 2018, 1,000 in 2019, 1,000 in 2020, 1,000 in 2021, 1,000 in 2022, 1,000 in 2023, 1,000 in 2024. President Mahama said no. Life must be progressive. In 2025, he increased it by 300% for the chiefs, and increased it by 300% for the paramount queen mothers. And the allowances for the adjudication of the judicial committees, he increased it from 30,000 to 50,000. This has also never happened before. The Department of Community Development also trained 53 community peer educators for the Rural Development College. And the department also trained 52 women in income generation activities as a catering and function in 122 local economic development groups. The total number of birth and death registration was increased from 588,972 and 55,219 respectively, as against the annual projection of 801,935 for births and 143,484 for deaths, representing 73% for births and 38% for deaths. BD, Birth and Death, developed a 5-year strategic plan for the civil registration and vital statistics in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, the ministry has also initiated a process of transferring the implementation of all legacy infrastructure projects inherited from the Coastal Development Authority, Northern Development Authority, and Middle Belt Development Authority. And let me state that we have written to the Attorney General for the repeal of the Middle Belt and the Coastal Development Authority. As for the Northern Development Authority, it has been brought under the office of the President. I wish to announce that the ministry secured a 1-year no-cost extension for the Ghana Secondary City Support Program, now to close by 31st December 2026. So all those contractors who are working on secondary cities, we have a 1-year no-cost extension up to 31st December 2026. Significant infrastructure program has been made under the program, and this includes 25 markets completed and 16 ongoing. So we have, under the secondary cities, 25 markets have been completed and 16 are ongoing. Transport terminals, 7 out of 10 are completed. Large industrial park, 2, and they are ongoing. Urban parks, 3 completed and 5 are ongoing. Business advisory centers, 1, and it is completed. Primary and secondary drains, 29.9 kilometers out of 26 kilometers completed. Street and security lights, 4,644 out of 5,416 lamps installed. 1,040 out of 1,553 solid waste refuse collection equipment provided. The total amount disbursed by the World Bank as at the end of February 2026 was $192 million United States dollars. The remaining earned fund of approximately 50.2 million United States dollars are yet to be disbursed, although the World Bank has approved of the 5th annual performance assessment report. So I'm happy to announce to you that in the coming days, the Minister for Finance will release the 50.2 million United States dollars for the completion of the secondary city project in the country. Similarly, But Mr. Honorable Chairman, let me take this opportunity to tell you that your very good friend, I'm now the regional president of the Gulf of Guinea Social Cohesion Project. Thank you very much. And Honorable Minister, I'm also the vice president of African Asian Association of Local Government. Similarly, the Gulf of Guinea Northern Region Social Cohesion Project under the ministry completed 953 out of the 1,266 sub-projects and created jobs and economic opportunity for 28,107 people, including 2,786 unskilled laborers, 3,693 skilled laborers, and 21,628 individuals of beneficiary community interest groups. In addition, 810 common interest groups totaling 21,628 individuals, 18,059 women, and 13,952 youth were supported with livelihood grants amounting to 15,923,780 Ghana cedis. In addition, a total of 2,884.150 was paid to 2,786 community workers, consisting of 1,101 women and 34.62% of the workforce being youth. Mr. Honorable Chairman, the SOCO project is to cater for the vulnerability of the vulnerable peoples along our borders so that the devil does not create work for an idle hands. So beyond the common fund, beyond the DPAT, beyond the other funds, the 48 districts along the northern borders from the northern Cote d'Ivoire, northern Burkina Faso, and northern Togo, they are given this vulnerability support to be able to cater for the work that is being done there. The SECO and the KFW are also providing 300 million Ghana cedis also for vulnerability support for some of the vulnerable, highly vulnerable districts in the country. So if you add that one to the 800, that will be amounting to the 1.2 million that I mentioned in Tamale. Let me also indicate that the land and landed property and Department of Parks and Gardens have also safeguarded to avoid the use of encroachment. In fulfillment of our contribution to the beautification of the green space, the Parks and Garden people are also here. We are also doing well. I'm scaling up because I know my time is almost up. Honorable Minister, when you have done more than enough, and this is your first time in accounting to the people, I know in Parliament, when the President presents the state of the nation, the opposition are going to look at what he didn't say, not what he said. He didn't say anything about this. But if the President had meant to say everything, then it means Parliament wouldn't have closed. So if I want to state everything that we have done in the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs, we may not close today. On that note, with the very rich data here, let me take this opportunity to thank you very much, to thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, and to thank my Deputy Minister. I know I have never been a DCE before. She was. I have never been a NALAG member before. She was. And she is a city MP, and I am a rural MP. And she is a female, and I am a male. And she is from the Royal House, and I am from the Church of Pentecost. And our Dean of all Chief Directors is an Alaji. So the telepathy with the Chieftaincy being represented by the distinguished Befinsia from Otunfo's place. You can imagine what is happening at the ministry. So let me take this opportunity to thank everybody, including my very good sister, Honorable Linda Ohenewa Oklu, the distinguished regional minister for the good people of Greater Accra, a woman doing what men could not do. May God bless us all.
No, Minister, All right, thank you very much. That was an exhaustive presentation by the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. So the wait for him has been worth the while. At this stage, I know that members of the media have questions for him, so come quickly to the microphone and limit yourself to one question. So if you have a number of questions, just prioritize one of them and ask it. The Minister will provide quick answers and we'll be out of here. Thank you very much. So identify yourself and indicate which media house you are representing. Yes.
My name is Abdul Hanan Adam and I work with the EIB network. The Minister actually ate into our time, sure. So we need compensation for that.
All right.
With the permission of Mr. Nyanyo. Okay. Minister, the topic about the anti-LGBTQ plus came up quite recently. The President and the Speaker assured that the bill will be passed. You, in terms of your role, also deal with traditional rulers and then the clergy. I want to find out what these two institutions are telling you, and are you concerned that the delay in the passage of this bill could one way or the other affect, the fortunes of the government in the election ahead? Minister, quick one on Ayalulu. The Vice President visited your office and you said that we're expecting some 1 million euros sponsorship or grant from the Spanish government. How far with that, and how soon should we expect you to retool Ayalulu to help with urban transportation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question, please. Go ahead, yeah.
I am Sethi, GBC. Honorable Minister, it's been 16th month, or this is the 16th month that the government has been in power. And you have told us that last year, all the 4 quarters of amount to the district assemblies were released, amounting to more than 6 billion cedis. Can you share with us the assemblies that have been able to at least complete 1 or 2 of the chief's compound, or 1 of the 2 3-unit classroom blocks? Thank you very much.
Well, I can give you one for free. Abra Sebu Kwamankese. Both chip compounds and 3 classroom blocks have been completed. So your question is answered.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Patrick Kaswad Buedu. I report for Radio Gold. I want to find out from the minister, because he made mention in this presentation concerning 5% cap of the district assembly common fund. I want to find out if there is any action or punishment for any administration or institution that doesn't follow the regulations, because the Local Government Act 2016 at 936 also talks about decentralization and how the money is to be dispersed and be used. Then the second one has to do with the 20% allocation for the sanitation and also the sanitation task force. It has come to my information that majority of the assembly, the municipal chief executives are actually not constituting the task force. Is he aware of what is going to be happening? What will happen to them? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the next and final question. So please, if you have a question, this is the opportunity for you. After this question, we are not taking any. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Emmanuel Romeo Tete, and I report for Ahonto 92.3 FM. Honorable, please, when should Ghanaians expect the election of MMDCs, and what is delaying this process? And lastly, what will be your long-term vision for Ghana's local governance system? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the minister will answer this.
Thank you very much. Starting from the first question. I was one of the signatories of the LGBTQ, but I didn't sign. We were more than the normal. My sister too was. We were all in parliament. So let no political party, like you say, the fortunes of the party. Let's know we were, they were not. And that is why I've not spoken for the long time on this. I'm asking mine. when you give me the ball, which player will be in the football field and be talking? Have you ever heard a boxer talking before? When you are in the ring, it's your hand that should be working. But when you are outside preparing for the fight, they say, I will beat him. You will beat him, you are in the ring, beat him. Thank you very much. We wanted 8 people to sign the LGBTQ in the 7th Parliament. In the 8th Parliament. And we were 4 MPP, 4 NDC. Felix, listen to this. By the time we got to the venue, the 3 MPs ran away. We needed to call 3 other NDC MPs to be added to the 4, for the NDC MPs to be 7. And then Reverend Intim Fojo, he was a Reverend minister. He was one of the 4. So he joined the 7 NDC to pass it to be 8-8, to be 7-1. And we got it passed. So if today some party is saying that, oh, they will take political opportunity, that political opportunity they are looking for is dead and gone. And let nobody bring the president in. It was us. We initiated it. I can mention the long history. So I went to the president, and I'm soldiering. I went to the president on this. That's why I've not spoken. And I went to the speaker on this. I know where we are. And the pastors come to me on this. I know where we are. When you are in the field, you act. You don't talk. Where are we? Today is 23rd. The Constitutional and Legal Committee of Parliament are meeting on it. I know every stage and every process. It is not the executive that does that. It is a private member's bill. And therefore, what the president said was right. When you went to our United Nations, what he said, if you listen carefully, you appreciate him for that. The honor that was supposed to be done to him was not given. You know that. So how can somebody take advantage of this? 23rd of this month, Constitutional and Legal Committee of Parliament are meeting on it. And last week, I was with the Speaker of Parliament in Kaswa, and the Speaker said that let no people who don't know anything about it stop talking about it. He passed it. He's still there. In the meeting that Parliament is coming, it will be passed. And when it is passed, the President has also said he will also sign. So, case closed. Case closed. Then, on the matter of Ayalolo, it is true. Ayalolo was started, the policy was started in 2005. The actual implementation of Ayalolo was started in 2009 by Professor Mills, the bus rapid transport system. The actual procurement of the buses was done by President Mahama. About 245 buses were bought. And out of the 245 buses, they sent 60 to Kumasi, they sent 10 to Takoradi, they sent 2 to Tamale. So when I came to office 10 years later, I asked, if you bought 245 buses in 2016, 10 years ago, how many have you added? The managing director said, none. And I said, then justify why I should leave you there. Then pack and let's bring somebody to reform Ayalolo. As I speak to you, the new MD started with a Spanish grant. And we gave the letter to the Minister for Finance in November 2025. And you know that was the first year of the minister, so he was too busy. So the ambassador was on us, the day we went to Gapti with the vice president, the finance minister called me, Ahmed, this is your thing. So he signed it. It is now with the Spanish ambassador who was following us to make sure that the letter of no objection was signed by the finance minister for them to give us 1.something million euros for each corridor. And when, for us to do feasibility studies, after which the Spanish government will give us 200 buses. So that is what we have done for Ayalolo. But when you compare the transport system in Ghana Ayalolo is the best. Why is Ayalolo the best? Metro Mass had 1,400 buses. Currently, they have only 400 out of 1,400. Ayalolo had 245. As I speak to you, they have 54 in Kumasi, and they have about 180 here. Even though they have not added, but the shortage is not as fast as Metro Mass, where the previous government sold about 1,000 of them. That has not happened under Ayalolo. So in the coming days, when the Spanish government brings the grant and the feasibility studies is completed on the corridors, about 200 new buses will be brought to augment Ayalolo, and that is what we are all working for. Then any single project, whether the assemblies, Master, I mentioned, if I have gone round, I could have given you, some have even completed and commissioned. So when I said ongoing, it doesn't mean there's no completion. Assembly projects, like President Mama should not be commenting on assembly projects. Assembly projects, I was here last week, the national chairman of the ruling government called me. I said, don't get here. I said, Ahmed, MMDC is no umuye juma pao. In this man thank you tour, the kind of things they are mentioning, I'm overwhelmed. For I say don't get here to score as MMDC is high, it means they are working. I know him. I know him. He doesn't just score you high. He trained me. For him to say you have passed, and he said when I go and they come, the kind of work they are doing for the government, if they continue like that, they will transform this country. I said Dunketia was also an assemblyman. He started his political career as an assemblyman, and Sekwa Secondary School was established by him as an assemblyman. So if an assemblyman is endorsing and approving what MMDCs have done, it's enough. And I want the development media go to every district and ask the DCE, this is your guideline. I'm coming to see some of the projects you have done. The right to information law gives everybody, every member of every district assembly to inquire any information for a district assembly. We passed the right to information law. So my brother, they've done a lot. Even my district, I went there. The work the DCE has done, I commended him when I met the MMDCs. 1 year was more than the 8 years past in Bana alone. But the money is not from Accra. The component given to him. The same thing when we were in Tamale with you. The short Nantom, that beautiful woman, she came. She said, Minister, I commissioned this last week, and I'm commissioning this. And I watch him. It has never happened before. You know it. So the projects are there. That is why we wanted a projector. And I told you in the coming days, district by district, we project what you have done. Completed, ongoing, completed. That should have been the nature of my presentation. But because it is the first accountability to speak for 30 minutes, you can't project 216 in this. But that thing will be done. We have included in the law Social Accountability Committee, the Act 936. So every district, the society will you account to the community. That is what we call SAC. You either do the SAC or you are SAC. Social Accountability Committee. That one will also be done. The sanitation. Even yesterday, the president asked me when we were in Tamale. We had a cabinet committee comprising the Minister for Finance, my good self, and the Minister for Youth Development. It was because of agitation of some people who did not understand the sanitation aspects of this country. My good self, I got into the ministry before I appreciated some of the activities very well. When you are outside, you don't appreciate some. The kind of mess the MMDCs are fixing, The workload is too heavy for them. You look at Accra Mayor. Accra Mayor, a mayor will be wearing suit by now. But is he wearing suit? He is sweeping everywhere, descending into the gutters everywhere, fixing things. But because you are not with them, sometimes it's difficult to appreciate it. But the money given to them, if they give you the money they are using in managing the sanitation cost, unless they estimate it, the money, the 10% is not enough. I know it. It's not enough. But people think sanitation doesn't matter. And that is why when you allocate money for sanitation, they fight it. So the fumigation contract was abrogated by the committee. The YEA also, that one was not renewed. The sanitation gas was also not renewed. So these are some of the things. But he said, so how do we do it? We are now thinking of how best we can do it. The constitutional mandate on when the assembly DCs will be elected is a constitutional provision. When we were in parliament, in the last parliament, they brought the law. MPP says, let's vote and elect them. NDC also says, let's vote and elect them. But the only dispute was on what mode. NDC says, let's elect DCs the way we do with assembly members. MPP also said, let's elect DCs the way we elect MPs. That was the only dispute. So the timeline, because the Constitutional Review Committee is working on the same constitution, you cannot take aspect of it and say that you are amending this to be working with that. So long as the Constitutional Review Committee has done their work and the Government Implementation Committee, there's a committee, I think Pastor, you are representing the ministry. There's a committee, interministerial committee, studying and analyzing the Constitutional Review Committee report on how government is going to implement it. And the election of MMDCs is part of it. So that one will also be done. The other question is my long-term vision for the local government ministry as a minister. Tomorrow, we are passing the government decentralization strategy for policy and strategy for 2026 to 2030. In it, we are decentralizing education. We are decentralizing health. And we are increasing the District Assembly Common Fund effective 2027 from 5% to 7.5%. And 1% is going to be used for the health decentralization. Then 1% is going to be used for educational decentralization. So the decentralization concept is going to be deepened and to be at work. So I hope you were not asking me my vision for this country. You said only local governance. And this is what we are going to do. The president has also increased the PWD fund from 3% to 5%. So it is not only DACF that is increased. DACF increased to 7.5% in 2027. PWD fund increased from 3% to 5% in 2026. And they are going to get an amount of 438 million per the formula for only DACF, for PWD alone. So these are the questions that were asked, and I don't think there's anyone that I couldn't answer. Let me take this opportunity to thank you and also call on Ghanaians to have confidence in the government of President Mahama and to have confidence in Speaker Bagwin on the LGBTQ issue. Let us not politicize or belabor it. Let's be action-oriented and facilitate to make sure that we do the needful. If you didn't do the thing and they voted against you, how can you be in opposition? You say, vote for me and I will come and do it. How can we trust you? The one who pass it, that parliament will pass it. The dispute will only be the signing. And the president says, if you bring it, I will sign. Matter close.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. So in the absence of any other questions, we will draw down the curtains on today's program. See you next week. Thank you very much.
So that was it from the Presidency Government Accountability Series with the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs there. And he's made a mention about a number of things, talking especially the much concern wants to Ghanaians is the release of the District Assembly Common Funds. And he has explained a number of things, touched on a lot of questions bothering you. This is his first time on the Government Accountability Series, and I think he did justice to the various sectors under his ministry, from chieftaincy to the local government, MMDCEs and all. The minister has really touched on all the salient sectors and areas under his ministry. And so I think this is a good account of stewardship there from his ministry. And yeah, you look inside the audience and you see all the MMDCs represented there with his deputy minister and other directors of the agencies under his ministry, and also directors of some other agencies here still under his ministry. So that was it from the Presidency Government Accountability Series. We brought you that live coverage here on yours truly, WoezorTV. I am Karen. Now you got to see you next week on yet another episode.